Let's talk about how to pass the Dyson video interview. What's up guys, it's Mike from Job Ready English here with another Pass the Interview video. Today we're going to be talking about the engineering giant and innovator Dyson. Best known for its vacuum cleaners, but known now for so many other things. So in our Pass the Interview video we're going to be talking about the recruitment process, the most common interview questions that we found from our research from publicly available sources, where we looked at what candidates had reported being asked in the past 6 months, and also other interview questions that we came across which we felt were interesting and we wanted to shine a light on them. Now, as ever, if you want more help and everything that you need to pass the Dyson video interview, check out the Pass the Interview pack down in the description below. Let's get started. So for the Dyson interview format, candidates reported that the process took around 3 months. Once you send in your application, you're invited to complete a higher view video interview. You're going to be asked 5 to 7 questions on the video interview. They didn't indicate about a timing, so we're going to estimate that it's 2 minutes to answer and 1 minute to think. If you pass the interview, you'll be invited to complete an assessment centre. The assessment centre includes a presentation on a topic you are given and a group task. You will also be given a final interview by a member of staff. So that's what you can expect across Dyson's whole recruitment process. Let's talk about the 7 most common interview questions we came across. These were questions that candidates reported being asked multiple times. So we classify this as most common interview questions, i.e. they're the ones that got asked most of the time, so it's more likely that you're going to be asked these questions. Question 1, why do you want to work for Dyson? So just remember, when you're putting this answer together, we're estimating about 2 minutes for your answer. So for a script, you're looking at about 150 to 200 words. We tend to find that people who speak faster than 100 words per minute tend to gasp, fall over their words, forget what they're saying, or all of their sentences will run together. So what you're really looking to do is pick out about 5 facts from Dyson, and there are so many places you can do this. You could do it from their website, their About Us, news, case studies, annual report, media reports, Google News. There are so many different places. And just to give you a rough benchmark, probably only takes about 15 to 20 minutes to do your homework about a company. And the reason being is you want to give facts which are unique and specific to the company themselves, and not just generic like Dyson's big, it's famous, it's innovative, it's got great staff. These types of things. Why? Because you don't want to give the same answer that everybody else is giving, because then you're just going to be treated the same. And if you can, it's really nice to personalise your answer a little bit. So pick out one of the facts about Dyson which really means something to you. Maybe it's to do with their corporate social responsibility. It could be to do with you using one of their products, or their kind of quest for innovation and technology, or the impressive story of Sir James Dyson himself. Just something which really resonates with you, and that stops it just being a list of facts. Question number 2. Why do you want to do this role? So whenever we're thinking about answering why do you want to do this job, why do you want to do this role, make sure that you have the job description to hand. Now, a good job description will outlay the current responsibilities, that what you're going to be expected to do on a daily basis, and also the skills that are needed for you to do the job. So when you're answering this question, it's really just 2 parts. First of all, you're going to want to say what you're doing in the job. This just really gives your audience the understanding, or in this case, the HiView video interview software, the ability to pick out the key skills for that job. And then you're going to want to be talking about what skills do you need. Is it teamwork, leadership? Are they soft skills like that? Are they hard skills like something from an engineering discipline, or Excel, or a particular type of coding language? These are all things that the HiView video interview software is going to be wanting to looking out for in terms of the words that you are saying. Question number 3, why do you think you are suitable for this role? Now, this question seems to be similar to question 2, but actually it's really all about you. So what I would do is I would frame my skills and my experiences again in terms of the job that is required. So say for example I was expected to work in the marketing team at Dyson. What I would do is I would pick out the experiences that I'd have where I had advertised the product, written copy, created graphics, used social media. So I would be picking out the things that I had done which are similar to the job responsibilities that I was going to do. Or if I couldn't do that, then I'd be picking out some of the skills that I'd be needed. Maybe a good understanding of technology, good teamwork, the ability to present information in an easy to understand format. And going through those, I'm basically presenting myself in such a way where it seems like I'm a really good candidate, because this is why I think I'd be good for the role, because I can do the things that you want me to do. And I think this is something that candidates often forget. Really, you're just trying to frame your skills and experiences to match up with what the job is required, not just talking about them randomly. You really want to say, like, hey, I'm the guy. If I went into McDonald's and I applied for a job to work in the kitchen, the first question they'd probably ask me is, can you make burgers? You know, have you ever cooked in a kitchen before? They're not going to want to ask me about my degree. And I realise that might seem a little bit random, but it's really just the same. Whatever the job is, you're trying to frame it in such a way that your skills and experience match up with the job that is required. Question number 4, how would you resolve a conflict with somebody in the workplace? Or tell me about a time you resolved a conflict. Now, conflicts are common. Conflict doesn't necessarily mean you're having a fight, it's just a disagreement. A lot of times it's just different styles of communication, a different opinion or a different point of view. This is really common for most people. The examples that they give is some sort of teamwork that they've done at university, or some kind of teamwork that they've done, say in a service role. Say for example, if you had to clean down the shop once Starbucks is closed, and trying to agree who should do what job. The first thing to really outline is you want to be using the STAR format, which is situation, task, action and result, and the majority of your answer is really based around the action, the things that you did to resolve a conflict. So how do we effectively resolve a conflict? Well, number 1, I need to explain what the conflict is and make that clear. Is it 2 people who have a difference of opinion? Has somebody had a bad attitude? Is someone just basically not turning up? Whatever it is, what is the conflict? Have I tried to speak to that person individually or those persons so I can understand their point of view? A lot of times conflicts really come down to a lack of knowledge. There may be something going on outside of that situation which is affecting them, or just poor communication where one person is saying one thing, another person is saying another thing, and they're not communicating together. And then I try to understand and frame that in terms of what we're trying to do. So if somebody turned around to me and said, I really don't like doing the washing up because it upsets my stomach and we have to clean down everything at Starbucks, and I'd say, well, that's fine, I'm happy to do the washing up, could you clean down all the surfaces, would that be okay? Because we still have to make sure that Starbucks gets clean. So it's just trying to frame it in terms of the goal and use the language in a way which is, number 1, is supportive. It's not particularly confrontational, judgmental or shaming. It's just like, okay, so you can't do this, could you do that? Is this something that you would consider? Question number 5, when have you solved a problem creatively? So what do we mean when we talk about creative problem solving? Well, it's probably something a little bit more difficult than just doing 1, 2, 3. So creative problem solving could be, well, thinking up of a task to do as a presentation at university, or it could be a manager has given you a report to do at work but you don't really know what to do and your manager's busy. So solving a problem creatively doesn't actually have to be that mind-blowing. It could just be asking for help, using Google, speaking to your colleagues, being honest about what you don't know, seeking advice and experience from elsewhere, learning a new skill. A lot of the times, Google is our friend, and when people are just a bit more creative, essentially what they're doing is they're not sitting there waiting for someone to tell them what to do. They're kind of going, well, is there somebody I can speak to? Is there a time when I've solved something similar to this, or could I just pop that question into Google? Question number 6, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Now, if you have to answer this in one question, it's really not a long space of time. Say you had 2 minutes, you've got 1 minute for a strength, 1 minute for a weakness. What I would do first of all is pick out a strength. That would be any of the key skills that are laid out in the job description, and just provide an example. So if you're saying I'm really organised, you can say, well, last year I organised a university event for 200 people which involved 10 members of staff, and I had to do ABC. That demonstrates your organisational skills. That shows off your experience rather than it just being your opinion. Now, when it comes to a weakness, I know that many people have different ideas about what's a good weakness. Personally, from my experience over the years, I like weaknesses that are true and where we can draw a really good learning experience from this. So, for example, this could be a weakness of mine is sometimes that I can be not as communicative because I am a bit set in my ways. So if I explain to a member of staff about doing something, I may not explain it in full. I then leave that member of staff kind of a little bit confused because they're not quite sure what to do, or they haven't done that thing before. So what I try to make sure to do now is I actually go through things step by step, and generally I'd use the time to like write out a sheet that I could use again, whether that be a checklist, a series of instructions, or some screenshots. That helps me to be better at explaining stuff. I can make sure that that member of staff explains. I can make sure that member of staff understands everything that they need to do. Plus I have a repeatable sheet or template that I could use for somebody else. Question number 7, what skills do you have which you believe will be a good fit for this role? So that's reasonably easy. We're just going to pick out the skills that are laid out in the job description. In 2 minutes you could probably pick out 3 or 4 skills, and just to give an example of each, to say not only am I good at this skill, but here's something that I did where I really demonstrated that in real life. So if you're wondering how you can get these most common interview questions, other questions, 5 fast facts about Dyson, it's all in the past the interview pack down below, as I'm reading from our research note which we've taken from publicly available sources from the past 6 months. And finally, 6 questions just in a rapid fire round. What experience do you have of working in a team? Star based, you could use multiple examples and just explain it really quickly. How big was the team? What did you do? What was the things that you achieved? How do you cope with multitasking? Another star-based question. Multitasking, very much for me, comes down to planning, organisation, time management, being efficient, being effective, being able to concentrate on the task at hand and do one thing at a time. Can you work in a fast-paced environment? Yes, provide an example. What makes Dyson different? A little bit of research needed here. You could look into their closest competitors. Also, if I was answering this question, I'd just say all of their unique innovations and inventions that have really changed a couple of different industries in terms of what they do. Tell me about yourself. Check out the card up in the description below where you can look at our Tell Me About Yourself video where I break down this question in great detail, and you can get a research and you can get a worksheet where you can create your own perfect answer to this question. And finally, what's the biggest challenge you've ever faced? Personally, I like a challenge that's not necessarily based around work, but is if I could only have one thing to tell you that would impress you and really tell you what I'm all about, then that's the thing that I want to say. So, for me, it's probably something related to me being sober for a number of years and not having to take drink and drugs anymore, as I haven't done for the past 10 years. That's not related to work, but it's something that really defines who I am and is quite meaningful to me, rather than just using something very generic and kind of vanity based, like, oh, I've done this many videos, made this much money, or have this many subscribers, something like that. It's not something, it's great, but it's not something that I feel is a biggest challenge that I have ever faced or a proudest achievement. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like the video, drop us a comment down below, let us know how we went. If you've got an interview coming up or you've just had one, let us know how you got on, and also drop us a comment if there are other videos you'd like us to make. We do have a running list of videos, and I wish you the best of luck in your video interview.